We're here at Herridge, home of Richard Hannon and the work base of Richard Hughes. Richard Hughes, the champion jockey. And Richard, that title, what's it feel like carrying it around?
It's lovely to have it. You actually get a nice kick when you're cantering to the start and you hear the commentator saying ridden by the champion jockey.
The season last season, fantastic season for you, all documented in your autobiography, A Weight Off My Mind, paperback edition just published. You've got an extra chapter in there looking at last season, and not just the championship documented, but also an incredible day at Windsor in October where you completed your own magnificent 7. Just looking back on that day, at what point did you start to think it was actually going to happen?
At a very serene feeling. When the third one won, I think it was one for Amanda Perrott, Mark Perrott just said, ride him to run well and see how you get on. And he actually won. And then I knew I was going to have a pretty big day ahead of me. And I think it was my 6th ride got beat, or something like that. And I still had 2 more, so the pressure was off that I wasn't going to go through the card. So I was actually quite confident that I could do it.
Mama Quilla, she's out in front. It's going to be a magnificent 7 for Richard Hughes.
And when you did do it, when you rode that 7th win, and what was that feeling like?
Oh, it was brilliant. And I took it all in at the time, but I realised what was happening from halfway throughout the day, so I really enjoyed it. It was absolutely magnificent.
So that put the seal on a great 2012. Going into 2013, you've already had one fantastic day in which you weren't even in the saddle. You were at Cheltenham when your dad Desi won the Triumph Hurdle with Arcana, and I was there that day, and you loved it, didn't you?
Yeah, it's amazing how nervous I get. Suppose when I'm in the saddle, I never get nervous because I'm in control. It's a bit like a nervous passenger. But with the hard work he puts into it, and we fancied him for quite a long time before Cheltenham. We thought we had the right horse for the Triumph Hurdle. He was brilliant on the day.
Desi's won a champion hurdle as a trainer with harder uses, 2 champion hurdles with harder uses. Can you see Arcana adding to that next season?
I can, yeah. He's quite a mature horse. It's quite a hard race for a 5-year-old to win. But as I say, we haven't seen a Triumph Hurdle winner like that in a long, long time.
Long before we get to the Triumph Hurdle, we've got a British flat season to look forward to. The Hannon team have made a great start to the new campaign. We've just had the classic trials, the Guineas trials. They went incredibly well for the camp. First of all, Toronado, Richard, in the Craven Stakes. That must have been everything and a bit more that you'd hoped for.
To be honest, when I left home, I said to Lizzie that I wouldn't be happy unless he won 3 lengths going away. His last piece of work was exceptional. We knew he was pretty fit, and the difference in his last 3 weeks, the way he went from his work, his last piece was his best piece. So we knew he was primed and ready.
Toronado and Dundonald, the big 2 in the market. Toronado is still in front by a neck, by about a head. Toronado in front will make all. Toronado won the Champagne in a pulsating duel with Dundonald.
When you won him at Doncaster last September in the Champagne Stakes, at that point, were you thinking of him primarily as a Derby horse more than a Guineas horse?
Yeah, when I got off him first time out, even in Newbury, from day one I've said I thought he was more of a Derby horse than a Guineas horse. And when he won in Doncaster, everyone said I got a soft lead, and it's documented. I've said that although I got a soft lead, it didn't suit me to go fast, but at the same time I couldn't go fast to set it up for the others. But he's a much stronger horse now than he was then.
And is he still a Derby horse?
Yes, without a doubt.
You've got no reservations at all about a horse that maybe has now more speed than you thought, having the stamina for a 1.5 miles?
No, I always felt he'd get 1.5 miles, and I thought he was more of a Derby horse, as I say, but as he's got stronger, he's shown us more pace. I think we're just looking at a very, very good horse.
And before we get to the Derby, Richard, we've got the 2,000 Guineas, the Kipco Guineas. You're in there now as a very strong second favourite, but the bookies still have Dawn Approach as the market leader. How bullish, how confident can you be of turning the favourite over?
The good thing, I was very bullish about Canfor Cliffs, but he was slightly harder horse to ride because you had to bury him and come with a run and use that speed. But this horse is so straightforward. You just let him roll, and I can drop in, I can make it, I can do what I want. Makes my job a lot easier.
And I guess that experience of handling Newmarket, handling the dip, handling the ridges, that's all got to be a positive too, hasn't it?
Yeah, well, I said to Richard after his last piece of work, I'd say he'd gallop down the side of a rocky mountain. He's just so balanced, and you don't feel the ridges when you're riding one like that.
And the other sort of classic trial-winning colt from the stable, Olympic Glory, heads to France. Presumably he's a big bull of a horse. He'd come on quite a lot from that, would he?
Yeah, he would. He was extremely heavy going into the race. We were confident he was fit enough to do himself justice, but a lot of work to be done on him still, and he'll be the finished article come Longchamp.
And Richard, in terms of the fillies, two big classic trials at Newmarket and Newbury. We deal with the Nell Gwyn first and Sky Lantern. Furlong and a half out, watching the race from the stands, you look to be travelling very well. You look the likeliest winner. Were you surprised that Sir Henry's filly whooshed past you?
I was in a catch-22. I set probably second last year at the race, and the winner was behind me. They were going very quick, and just at the 3-pole I felt that the field were coming in on top of me a bit on the rail, and I knew it was going better than them, so I had to kick in and hold that position. So I kicked in and I had to sit on her. I wasn't going to kick a filly in the belly 2.5 from home with a £3 penalty. So I sat on her, and with that the winner came by me and got first run a little bit on me. But at the end of the day it was only a trial, and I was very pleased with her.
Would you have learnt anything from that race?
I learned something last year when Certify beat her in Newmarket, that when you're going well, keep going, and I did that in the Moiglair. But I couldn't afford to do that with a penalty. So I'm confident in a fast run Guineas. When she arrives there, I'll just say, right, here we go, let's go early.
Very different sort of filly, Maureen. Successful in the Fred Darling Stakes with a good turn of foot. How pleased were you with her performance?
Very pleased with her. She settled well. They did go very fast. They went 6 furlong pace throughout the race, and I picked them up pretty easy, and she quickened well to win. It was exaggerated how much she picked up by the fillies in front stopping, so. But there's no reason. Take a chance getting a mile, but she'll have to be ridden cold to get the mile.
And will she be ridden by you or by somebody else, do you think? I mean, do you think one of the two is a more obvious Guineas filly?
The more obvious thing is the ground's going to be fast.
Yeah.
And Sky Lantern wants it like the road, and she likes a bit of cutting the ground, so strictly going by the ground I'll be riding Sky Lantern.
And of the other sort of classy 3-year-olds in the stable, I mean, you look around here, there's so many good horses, so much talent in every box. What are the names you're particularly looking out for as you go through the following weeks and months?
Neer impressed me lots. Although he only won a listed all-weather race, you can't forget he was second in a race post trophy. On a day I felt he didn't travel that well, which is unusual for him. He's an extremely good traveller in a race, like he did in Linkfield, and quickened up well to win. He picked up a very fit horse that was just back from Dubai. You know, he could run a big race in the English Guineas if he goes for it. If not, he'll be going for the Irish Guineas.
And the 2-year-olds as a bunch so far, I mean, I guess they haven't done a huge amount, but do they look a decent set?
Yeah, our 2-year-olds are always decent.
Yeah.
They come along as a group. We probably have a bit more 2-year-olds than last year, but that only means that we've more backward types. The Coventry horse will be sticking his head out soon enough. We won't miss him anyway.
And Richard, in terms of the stable as a whole, can you recall at this stage of a season, in sort of mid-spring, a stronger bunch of horses in Richard Hannon's yard?
Probably not. The annoying thing this time of year is we can't find races for them. When you open the calendar, every race is 0 to 60 for 4-year-olds and over. So when a 0 to 80 comes along for 3-year-olds only, those races are red hot.
The ammunition then is clearly very strong, lots of very good horses at your disposal, and you made a cracking start to the new season with lots of winners on the board. So too, however, has Ryan Moore. He looks like he sent out a message of intent. How keen are you to retain the title, and do you think you will?
I'm keen to retain it. Whether I do or not is another thing. I was very lucky Ryan got injured last year. It certainly helped my cause. Ryan rides an awful lot of winners every year, and I'm sure the two of us will be close enough come middle of September.
And Richard, one more question. If we spoke to you on the Monday after Guinea's weekend, do you think we'll be talking to someone who's ridden his first British Classic winner?
I'd like to think so. I'm very confident about the horse. I'm not worried about what ground turns up for him. He's easy, he's straightforward. It's as good a chance as I've had anyway in a while.